Randy Jones, and last time we identified a couple imbalances in with his nervous system that can relate to trauma and pain and post-traumatic stress disorder and similar types of conditions. And so I thought today we would do some actual treatment points on him, using acupuncture points on your body that have a good will have a good response for what we're treating you for. And I thought we would. There's many different ways of approaching this. I choose to use muscle strength testing, and there's other ways that other acupuncturists will do this. And primarily, I thought we would focus in treatment on the ear points and some other related points, and just a quick little history. The ear is one of the first things formed off the fetal tissue when it's about 2 weeks old, and it comes right off the brain tissue and forms within about 2 weeks. It's there before the nose and the hands and the arms and everything like that. So it's considered very nerve-related tissue. And if you look at the ear in its upright position and then flip it over, you can kind of get an idea that maybe there's a baby there. So you see a head right there, the spinal area through here, organs. So if you just look at it in this frame of reference, and it's a microsystem for the entire body. So flipping it back over again, this area down here is going to represent the head, spinal cord and spinal column all the way through to the lower back, and then different organs off of those nerves as it goes through here.
Fascinating.
So what we found is you can directly affect and balance the central nervous system by using needle stimulation of the ear. And so some of the more important points will be near the head points in here, but there's also some nice resting and digesting points that we can use, and some areas that kind of help calm the mind racing that a lot of people get. And we can use that with usually pretty good results. Okay.
Very intriguing.
So we're going to go ahead and use the muscle testing that we've done in the past with him. We have identified the two things that were most out of balance with him, and when we test, we're showing that it's showing weak there. So what I'm going to do, I do want to focus in on the ear here. So I have a little pointer probe that won't hurt. Feels like that. I'm just going to be touching on different parts of the ear. If it's a good active point that we can use, all we have to do is press into it and then retest on muscle strength, and we should see an improvement if that's a usable point. So we're going to start on the one of them that's more considered resting and relaxating for the body. So if you'll hold there. Okay, good. And that does show some nice improvement there. And then this next one is called Shen Men, and it's a very famous one for working with the brain. Hold tight. And that one actually means Heaven's Gate, so it kind of opens the brain up to heaven, so that's a good one. There's a balance point right in the middle of the ear, which would relate to the solar plexus area of the body. And let's see if that's going to... And that one doesn't seem... Try it one more time. That one doesn't seem to have much response for his brain. Then we're going to come off of that area, and we're going to check the cervical, the neck area. And so we're going to apply pressure right into that area. And that has some nice effect there. So that makes sense. We know a lot of the upper neck nerves are involved with blood flow back to the brain. And then the next one we're going to do is right near the limbic system, very deep part of the brain that's responsible for a lot of chatter and things like that. And that's an excellent point there. Very good. And then we're going to go to prefrontal cortex area. And we see that one stronger as well. And then there's a few additional points that we're going to go through. They're named different things, but we're going to just go through them. Let's excuse me. This is called the exciting point, and that may or may not be appropriate for this treatment. We need calm, not excitement. There is one more point that's really the mid part of the brain, so we're going to test that one and see what happens. So that actually shows good strength there. So we've actually identified 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points on the ear, which is excellent. Yeah, so that tells us we should be able to make a nice response with that. So just to kind of recap there, when we test, and he cannot hold that, we're going to apply some needling here.
Okay.
And of course, most people are, should say a lot of people are afraid of needles. But these are very, very tiny,
Whole bunch of those people.
delicate needles, and they're really more, might be called a filament, might be a better term. They're solid. If you get nice ones, they're laser cut, so they're bullet shaped, as compared to a hypodermic needle, which is hollow, beveled, and when you put that in, that actually tears through tissue. You could get something like anywhere from 6 to 8 of these needles inside a typical hypodermic needle. So they're very tiny.
Very tiny.
And so really they push the tissue aside rather than pushing through the tissue.
Wow.
Yeah. So there can be some tender points. So he may notice a little poke, and like my daughter who loves acupuncture said, it's not that they don't hurt. It's a much different scale than hypodermic needle. So things like things like a mosquito bite, or worst case scenario, maybe like a bee sting. We've had some of those, but that's pretty rare. A lot of points people don't even feel it at all. Okay, so we're gonna start on these 6 points here, and that was the first one. And these are only going in about 2 millimeters. They're not going in very deep.
Wow.
And so it comes with a little insertion tube that helps guide it in properly. Good, that's perfect there. Did that one hurt?
No, I was just telling Glenn, no pain.
No pain. You look like a cousin to a porcupine. At the ear, anyway.
See what he does to me.
When you get through with that, if you can turn his head around so I can get a close-up of it, that would be
Yes, sir. And you'll probably just have to get the light just right to see the needle inserted, because they are that fine.
Yeah.
There we go, good. And that one's, we're going a little bit deeper on that one.
Yeah.
That was about 3 millimeters or so. So, did that one have a little bit of a poke to it?
Not really.
Not really, good, okay. All right. And prefrontal cortex lastly. Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have them all in there. And then we're just for the sake of science, we're going to retest your strength here.
Okay.
I'll hold tight, and we have a very nice response.
Whoa.
And typically with the ear, we'll leave it in anywhere from about 10 to 12 minutes, something like that.
Did you want?
Can you turn your head right? I want to go in. I hope your ears are clean. I saw him.
I got a witness here.
I saw him.
I had to clean them, but they're clean.
They were clean before, because I know you have a certain somebody that makes sure they are too. That looks remarkable. It really does. Just to see it, and I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people who may not have seen what acupuncture looks like. And that was so good, because I could tell there was absolutely no discomfort registered on your face.
Right. Yeah.
So so are you feeling any sensations or anything?
No, I did feel down here. Of course, I've got this nerve pain, but
Yes.
I did feel a little bit of what I would equate to a chill feeling
Yeah.
down here in my leg. But that was it.
Well, great.
Yeah.
Well, part of the nervous system we're working on is sympathetic, parasympathetic, and that actually is housed still in the central nervous system, but within the spinal cord, and so that can have its effect downwind as well. Those nerves help control blood flow, do different things that are all the way through there.
Yeah. And, yesterday, when I had the opportunity to visit with the neurosurgeon, and I told her that I was coming for acupuncture, she was very happy about that. She thought that was a very good thing.
Good. Yeah. Yeah.
So, when you keep this in, say, for like 12 minutes or so, what is the end result of a treatment?
Well, what we're trying to do is we're not trying to add or take away from anything in the body. What we're really trying to do is stimulate certain areas of the body to begin to come into balance. So part of the issue here is the balance between the limbic system and the prefrontal cortex, the chattery part of the brain with the logical part of the brain that stifles that chatter that goes on. So if we can do the right points and balance that, then in somebody with PTSD or somebody that's been through trauma, maybe they're not formally diagnosed with PTSD, but they've had some trauma to their body, then it really kind of bring it back to a more normal situation. Everybody has a little chatter in their head, and everybody's got typically a prefrontal cortex intact that will help stifle that, all those worries and concerns that our brain can come up with.
Yes. You know, typically one of the major problems with people who have PTSD is that they relive the past.
Yes.
You know, does this force you more into the now? Does it create a condition in the body that puts you more in the now?
It does, and that's by virtue of that limbic system, and that's such a deep part of the brain, and that actually is so close to the nerves for the eyes and the ears and the nose. So smells and tastes and vision and hearing all overstimulate that limbic area, and there's another little spot called the hippocampus, which is actually the seat of memory, and that's part of the limbic system. So we're trying to break.
I think too, Glenn, that caregiver, the veteran's caregiver, might also benefit from the acupuncture.
Yes.
Because that person, too, there's been terrific change in that person's life. And we can't
Absolutely.
identify what that change may be, but perhaps acupuncture can help that person, man or woman, achieve some higher level of calm or reduced anxiety.
Yes.
It's just amazing what's possible. And we together, the VSB channel and Dr. Tranter, want to put together something in writing that talks about what we're doing, why we're doing it, and what you can expect from your visit to acupuncture, and what we can also expect with the use of essential oils.
Yes. That's right.
Yeah. It's serving one another. It is sharing with one another, and it is really holding each other in the highest regard. And that's what we need to do. And that's what we do at VSP Channel. We hold each other in very high regard, and we know that you're there, and we know that we can provide you with a resource. Whether that resource be writing, or whether that resource be a film such as this, or whether that resource be, thank you very much, from Dr. Tranter, who shows and demonstrates his capabilities, his skill. And so that's about what I think I wanted to say.
Thank you. I appreciate you bringing that up about the caretaker, because they may not formally have PTSD, but they've certainly been
Right.
through traumas that's
Exactly.
entered through the nervous system into the brain. And invariably, people that have had to caretake a sick spouse or
Yeah.
things, they will show certain attributes of imbalance in the brain that probably can't formally be diagnosed as PTSD, but is probably along that spectrum.
Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and
Okay.
re-muscle test you and just
All right.
make sure that everything is strong.
Okay.
And then we'll take the needles out and retest too to make sure that it's not just the needles
Okay.
stuck in here, that we actually had a physiologic response.
Okay.
So I'm going to pull these out. I have a cotton swab handy just in case something bleeds, but it's pretty remarkable how there's just no blood on most of these because it really didn't
No sensation.
it didn't damage any tissue.
Yeah.
If we get a little drop of blood, we did not on you. It's just because of a tiny little blood vessel.
Yeah.
So that actually looks just fine.
Okay.
Okay, well, let's check the
All
pudding,
right.
the proof in the pudding
All right.
to see he's still holding those vials and he's still strong.
And
So there's
I'm not forcing that up either.
No,
Amazing.
that's right. So,
amazing.
so there has been a physiological change of balance in his brain, and then typically for most people will get a measurable response in their PTSD scores. Somewhere within 4 to 10, 12 treatments, something like that. So
Wow.
it kind of depends.
It's just fascinating.
Yes.
And how long will that last? Is this?
In most cases, it lasts for quite a long time. And you were asking about the memory part. There's no treatment that we know of that would knock every memory down. So if conditions are just right, the weather is the same as when you had your trauma, and there's several things that are coming at you that were similar to your event, that your brain will start bringing some of those memories up. But hopefully we have enough balance in there that it's a short-lived, not severe episode. So some of the people that I've treated, in fact, I treated a man who had an unfortunate thing happen with his grandchildren in a car accident, and there are certain times of the year he has a bad day. There's no doubt, but it typically rebalances by the next day or two, and he's able to muscle his way back through it again, as opposed to making him sink into a hole.
Yeah.
Well, Dr. Tranter, I think that this is just eye-opening and very nice, very good, very healthy service. And I'm hopeful that many veterans are going to learn more about it and begin to use. I myself, as we already talked about, I'm going to get acupuncture today. So it's remarkable work that you're doing, and keep on doing it. And if you would like to speak with Dr. Tranter, if it's okay if I say that, or message him, how would people send you a message?
Through my email would be fine, or through my website, drtranter@goodforyourlife.com.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Tranter, and thank you so much for sticking in there.
Or you mean getting stuck in there?